Okay, good morning, everybody. So we're going to finish chapter 9 today. And I put up there, it's been up there since the beginning of the week, a practice exam with some practice questions. The reason that I want you guys to do it more so than the practice questions, even though the practice questions will be helpful, you have to test whether or not the lockdown browser works for you. So try it on the practice exam, make sure that it's ready for you to go when you're ready to take your test. The test will be available starting at 11 a.m. today, and you can take it anytime until Monday night. You only get one shot, so make sure you're ready to go when you do it. If for some reason it locks you, if you have a glitch where it closes, just open it back up. You should be able to go right back into it. Make sure to check the other one out, and if we do have problems, please let me know. Okay. We're picking up on chapter 9, handout number 12, and we're in the second part, calculate and journalize transactions involving goodwill. So I talked a little bit about what goodwill was, but I want to remind you that goodwill is the difference between purchase price and fair value of assets acquired in the purchase of a company. Purchase price must be greater than the fair value of assets. Okay, and what I did was I cut a little excerpt out of one of the texts that I have available for this next part. So it's not really like a full problem, but hopefully it'll illustrate. So in this example, a company pays $90,000 for another company with assets fair valued at 80,000. So that's just the background behind this one. And so they told us that it was 20% patent, 25% trademark, and 55% copyright. So we just multiplied them out to get our fair values. And then we took the goodwill, which was the purchase price, minus the 80,000 equals 10,000. And so here there would be no gain on this transaction. Sometimes you could purchase them at a discount and you would have a gain. So what does our entry look like? Our entry would look like patents, 16,000. Trademark, 20,000. Copyright, 44,000. And then goodwill of 10,000. Less what we paid, 90,000 in cash. This is from the last class, but so you probably have it, but in case you don't, this is the one we just did. Okay, any questions? So let's take a look at example 6 and I'll walk you through it. Floyd Company purchases Hager Company for $2.4 million in cash on January 1, 2021. The book value of Hager Company's net assets as reflected December 31st, 2020 balance sheet is $1,860,000. Now, normally if we're buying it, do we care what the book value of the assets were on the company's books? No, we don't care because book value, remember, does not reflect current value or fair value. Book value just reflects what? You guys should know this one. Well, how do we put our assets on the books? What do we record them at? Oh man, this is rough. Right, what it cost us, right? Historical cost. That's it. That's what we record them. So that company, when it originally bought them, had the historical cost of 1.86 million. How long ago could they have bought it? Who knows, right? So we're only concerned with fair values. But it does tell us that the assets exceed the book value by 180,000 and intangible assets exceed the book value by 135,000. So if we start with book value, because we want to find the total asset value, we have 1,860. And then we're going to add fair value of tangible. And that is 180,000. And then we're going to add the fair value of intangible. And that's 135,000. And so our total fair value, when we add those up, is 2,175,000. So our purchase price $2.4 million less the fair value, 2,175,000. And so this difference would be goodwill, and I think it's 225,000. And so our answer is D. Any questions on that question? All right, I'll go through example 7. On September 1st, September 1st, 2021, Vernon Corporation acquired Barlow Enterprises for a cash payment of $820,000. At the time of purchases, Barlow's balance sheet showed assets of $610,000, liabilities of $240,000, and owner's equity of $420,000. The fair value of Barlow's assets is estimated to be $970,000. Compute the amount of goodwill acquired by Vernon. So we have our purchase price, and that's $820,000. We subtract the fair value of assets, I'm sorry, net assets, And so we had fair value of assets. And they told us that the fair value of assets is estimated to be 970,000. And then we have the fair value of debt, which we have to subtract out, right? Just because that company, we bought that company, doesn't mean that its debts go away. If we're buying the company, then we acquire the debts as well. And so we have to account for the debts. And so our net fair value is 730,000. So goodwill, 820,000 minus the 730,000 equals 90,000. I'll leave that up there. If you have any questions, I'll come around. Also, you guys can start working on practice 3. I'll give you about 3 minutes. I'm going to be handing out our in-class group work. I'm going to be handing out our in-class group work for today. And it will be due at the end of class. Unless I find that you guys are having some difficulty with it. For those of you that are online, you can find this in the assignments tab. And you guys can work together. I'm going to stop recording in a minute, but I will leave the Zoom connection up so that you guys can ask questions online. Okay, so in practice question number 3, it asks, determine the fair value of the identifiable net assets. So we have to take the fair value of the assets and subtract the fair value of the liabilities, if they're anything. Unfortunately, we started with book value. And so the book value, 3.6 million, which normally we don't worry too much about. But because they make the adjustment off of that, we have to add fair value increase for tangible. And that's 600,000. And then we add the fair value increase for intangibles. And that's 320,000. And so our total fair value equals 4.520 million, or 4,520,000, letter B. Now, would they have goodwill on this purchase? Wasn't asked in the question, but yes. Right, so they paid more. They paid 5 million. The book value, or the fair value of the assets, 4.52 million. So 480,000 would be the goodwill if it asked about goodwill. Okay, so I'm gonna stop recording here, and you guys can work on the chapter 9 in class group work. For those of you who are online, you can find it in our assignments. Scroll down and it's chapter 9 in class group work. And you guys can work on this. If you have any questions, type it in the chat or you guys can ask here. Okay. Thank you. And I will see you on Tuesday. Don't forget you have an exam this weekend that you have to take. Do the practice exam so that you know how to work the lockdown browser and make sure you're ready to go. Have a great day and weekend.